This is the Louie T Network.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report Live. Week 13 edition. Boy, I got some stories to tell, man. It's good to be back in front of the family. Took a week off. Needed that week. Recharged the battery, spent time with the family. I hope your Thanksgiving was as enjoyable as mine, as relaxing as mine was. And now it's back to football, man, and it's down the home stretch. After Thanksgiving, normally all the bye weeks are done. We got two more, which is somewhat of a surprise to me. The Browns and the Titans are going on their byes in week number 13, which is really late in the season. I don't know if I've ever seen a week 13 bye before, but that's what we have this year. Nonetheless, after that, every team will be done with their byes, and then we'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of the season. But for us, it's already crunch time. It's already go time. We got to start having these W's stack up like bricks, and we got to have them now. And that one that we let slip away on Thanksgiving, that one was a gut punch. I mean, anytime you lose to a rival, it stings. But anytime you lose to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in front of the most highly rated game, regular season game that is, on Fox in its history, then yeah, that one stings. And it was a hell of a football game. I was proud of the fellas. I didn't walk away with my head down. I walked away saying we let a game slip away. We had opportunities and we let the game slip away. But I got stories to tell, man. So this is going to be a little bit of a different format today. Much of what you're used to and accustomed to. No Redskins game notes here. I didn't take any notes as I was off, and it was Thanksgiving. I wasn't going to take any notes. I watched the game like a normal fan and enjoyed it. It would have been a lot more enjoyable had we come away with the victory. But that being said, instead of Redskins game notes, I got some stories to tell, man. And it just goes to show you how hated this rivalry really is, and how I hate being on the short end of the stick, and how I hate coming out on the losing end of this thing, because you just don't know. You just don't know. Now, for those of you who don't know, my mom really isn't a fan. She just likes to root against the team that I like just to bust my chops. So my mom's an ass when it comes to this. She just likes to be an ass. But she claims to be a Cowboys fan, so we'll just classify her as a Cowboys fan. My dad, as you already know, he's a Cowboys fan. Stone cold, hardcore Dallas Cowboys fan. My sister, I have two sisters. One's a Falcons fan. The other, it's hard to call her a Cowboys fan because she's been a Falcons fan. She's been an Eagles fan. She's been a Redskins fan. A Cowboys fan. But she's a Cowboys fan now. So let's throw her into the mix. So you see what I'm up against over here. And I know you always ask and you wonder, how the hell did you end up a Redskins fan in a house full of Cowboys fans? Funny you may ask. I'll tell the story quickly. It's really not a story to tell. It's really simple. I live in Virginia. Grew up, born, raised Virginia. So the team in Virginia watched the Redskins. So I've been watching football since I was 3 years old. And my mom would just give me a bottle and put me in front of the TV as early as I can remember. And, when I was 3 years old, my mom would just put me literally in front of the TV and I would just watch TV. Whether it was Sesame Street or whatever was on, I just watched TV all damn day. Football, same deal. Put me in front of the TV and I would just watch what was on. That's why I'm a fan of all the teams generally that I'm a fan of. Notre Dame, because they were on TV all the time. Atlanta Braves, because they were on TV all the time. Watch the Redskins, because they were on TV all the time. Duke Blue Devils, because they were on TV all the time. So you get the trend here. So bottom line is, I just saw the Redskins all the time. That's how I became a Redskins fan. That being said, man, I had it rough this weekend. I got it from my dad. And my dad isn't one to really boast and brag, but man, he is smelling himself right now. Like, I can't tell that man nothing about his 10-1 Dallas Cowboys. Like, he doesn't want to hear it. And it's to the point now where we're getting in arguments, and we don't usually argue over football, man. We're usually on the same page, but we're getting into some knockdown, drag-out arguments over football. He's giving it to me, and I can't say nothing. They swept us this year. What can I say? I really was expecting to win on Thursday, and when we didn't get it done, my sister gave me some work. She was giving me the business, all in my ear, chirping. I had to take that. It didn't. I'll tell you what, I was really close to snapping on her, but look, you got to be a man. You got to take your medicine, all right? Because if we would have won, I would have gave it to them. And I'm not one to really brag and throw things in your face, but boy, it would have felt good to beat the 9-1 Dallas Cowboys. And we didn't get it done. And so I had to take it from, my dad, my sister, my mom. Like I said, my mom just likes to bust my chops. She's an ass when it comes to this. She really doesn't even watch football, but all she knows is Cowboys. And so she was yelling, didn't even know what the hell she was yelling about. She was just yelling. So that really pissed me off because at least I can take it from my sister and my dad because they actually are watching the game. They know the players. They know what's going on. Mom doesn't know what the hell's going on. You love that. Go sit your ass down somewhere. So, I had to deal with all of that this weekend. It was not fun. But let me tell you the worst part about my whole experience with Cowboys fans this weekend. So I go to Williamsburg, going shopping, me and my boy going shopping, and we head out. And we get to the outlet, we get to the Nike store. And we're walking around the Nike store, and as you can imagine, it's Black Friday, but it's midnight Black Friday. So literally the stores are just opening up in Williamsburg. So we get up there, and I'm walking around the Nike store, the Nike outlet. And a guy approaches me that works at the Nike outlet. He tricks me. Okay, he walks up to me. He says, "Hey, you a Redskins fan?" No, he said, "Hey, you a Cowboys fan?" Almost aggressively, like, I better not be a Cowboys fan. And again, remember where I am. I'm in Virginia. I'm in the home of Washington Redskins territory, okay? So remember where I am. Most fans in this area are Redskins fans. So he approached me aggressively as if to say, you better not be a Cowboys fan. "Hey, you a Cowboys fan?" I'm like, hell no, I ain't no Cowboys fan. He said, "Who you like?" I said, "I like the Redskins, man." He gave me his hand like this, and I shook his hand. And as he grabbed my hand, he said, "How about them Cowboys?" Like, give me my goddamn hand back, man. What's wrong with you? And so he proceeded to just bake me all around the damn store. I said, "You know what? We coming back for your ass in the second round of the playoffs. Keep that damn stadium warm because we going to be back for our W." And he says, "Oh, yeah?" So he goes, finds this other guy. He's all decked out in Cowboys garb. Hat, jersey, shoes, all of it. Cowboys. He's like, "You going to do what?" So he starts following me around the damn store. They both talking cold, hard trash. I'm trying to get away, but I'm talking trash back. And I'm like, all I know is this. Kirk Cousins lit your ass up. We coming back for seconds. Keep that stadium warm. We gonna be back. Round 2 of the playoffs. I will see you then. Make sure you keep that stadium warm for us. We coming back. And so that's my mantra right now. I want to go back to Big D and I want to smack those boys in their mouth, in their house. I want to disrespect them. I want to walk in a bunch of mud, track it all up and down the steps, all through the house. I want to be disgusting and nasty. I want to shave my pubic hairs in the kitchen sink. I want to be really nasty, man. I really want to disrespect those boys. I don't want to just eat up their snacks out the pantry in their face. I don't want to just drink up all of their ice cold beverages. Nah, I want to be really nasty in the house, man. I'm talking about busting a nut on their pillow upstairs in the room. I'm trying to be really disgusting. That's what I'm trying to do. We got to get there first, though. All right, I went through so much grief and flack this weekend. We got to get those boys. But I will say this. That atmosphere on TV was electric. I have never in my entire life heard the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and this goes back to Texas Stadium. None of it. I've never heard that stadium. Definitely not Jerry's World. Never heard that stadium as loud as it was on TV against the Redskins on Thanksgiving. It was electric. You could feel it. You could hear it through the TV. I actually said to my dad, I'm like, man, your crowd is juiced up, man. I've never heard them this loud before. He said, yeah, man, sounds like it's really loud there. You know, the Cowboys can be fair weather fans a lot of times. They generally don't get up for games. man, they got up for that one. This one felt like a rivalry. It felt like old times. And I heard a lot of people saying after the game that, that's the best rivalry in football. And at one point, I thought the Redskins and Cowboys rivalry wasn't looked at as the best rivalry in football, but I think it's regained its luster. And now it's something that we can be proud of as Redskins fans and Cowboys fans alike, that we have the best rivalry in all of football, and it lived up to the billing, as that was a hell of a football game, but we came up on the short end of the stick. But that being said, man, I'm looking forward to the remainder of this season, the final 5 games. It's not going to be easy, but I don't want it to be easy. I want us to earn our way in, okay? We've put ourselves in a position to win a wild card spot. We're not going to get the division. That's gone after we lost to Dallas. That was the end of that. That's fine. I just want in, because once you get in, all bets are off. Everybody's got a shot. And I know our defense isn't good and we're not good enough to make a run, but I'll tell you this much. Our offense is as good as any in the league. I think we have one of the best, if not the best, offense in the league. Our problem is, of course, we already know what it is. That's why we didn't beat Dallas, scoring in the red zone. If we can rectify that, and it's easier said than done. Look, I just want to simplify things. I just want them to do things the easy way. They make things so hard in the red zone, and it doesn't need to be that way. But we'll talk about all of those things a little bit later on in the program. Bottom line for me is that if we could just get into the playoffs, if we can just qualify, if we can do enough to get into the postseason, we're good enough to beat anybody offensively. If we can force a turnover or we can get a couple of stops. We don't punt often. We still lead the league in the least amount of punts. We only punted one time in the Cowboys game, and we didn't even turn it over. We did that ourselves. We lost that game. We are so prolific offensively that we don't punt. So if we could just get into the playoffs, if is a big word, biggest 2-letter word in the English language. But if we can just get in, we got a shot. Because who's stopping our offense? I haven't met a defense that could do that yet. We stop our offense, no one else. And if we can just get a turnover or 2, just get a stop or 2, and score in the red zone, we can win in the playoffs against anybody. That's the message that I'm trying to send to you guys today. That's what I've been kind of dwelling on the last couple of days in the wake of that Cowboys loss. I'm not an excuses guy. I've heard all the excuses. Oh, short turnaround, Sunday night football to Thursday, and 3 games in 11 days, and the sun was in our eyes. Look, don't make any excuses. We had opportunities to win the game, and we didn't take advantage of it. We got to move on, though. We got a tough one on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But before we do that, let's get to some of your comments, man. I want to hear what you guys got to say. If you've got some Cowboy stories, hey, by all means, share them. Let's see what you guys got to say. Let's chop it up with the familia and see what you guys are talking about. Let's jump into this thing. Lionfire says, we hate those cowgirls, and they know they got away with one. Yeah, they got away with one, and they know they did. And it's all good, man. When you're 10-1, you don't think you got away with anything. You think you did what you were supposed to do, which is win. And they swept us, so I can't say anything. They beat us twice. That's not supposed to happen. The last couple of years, it's been, I think the Cowboys swept us 3 years ago. Because Colt McCoy got them a couple of years ago. Last year, we let them come and beat us on Monday night, so they returned the favor. The year before that, that's when the Cowboys were 12-4 with Tony Romo, and they ran the football with DeMarco Murray. And so, or was that no, that was 2 years ago. So, yeah, there hasn't been a sweep in quite some time. Might have been 3 years ago, but whatever the case may be. Last 2 years, for sure, neither one of us have swept the other team. And that wasn't supposed to happen this time, and we let them sweep us. We should have beat them in week 2, had opportunities to beat them in week 12, and we let them off the hook both times, so that's really disappointing. Lionfire says, I got us running the table if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. We knocked the Cowgirls out of the playoffs. It would be nice. It would be nice, but I'm a 1 game at a time guy. I can't even look forward to. I don't even know who we play in week 14. All I know is we got the Cardinals in week 13. I think I know the remaining teams we got to play. I don't know the order. I know we got the Bears. I know we got the Eagles. We got the Giants. We got the Panthers, and we got the Cardinals. Don't ask me the order of those games. I don't care. I just know the Arizona Cardinals on the road, a tough place to play against a desperate team, is coming up next, and that's the one we got to get. We lose that football game, and then we're not running the table. So you can't run the table, can't win 5 in a row without winning one first. So we got to take care of this one first, then we can start talking crazy about running the table. But I have confidence that we can win every single game left on the schedule. I do too. Feel we can do that, but we got to beat the Arizona Cardinals. I think this may be the toughest game we got left on the schedule, to be honest with you. On the road in Arizona, this team is desperate at 4-6-1. They lose this game, their season is definitely over. I think it's over now, but if they lose to us, it's definitely over. They know that. They're going to come out with a sense of urgency at home. That's going to be a tough one to go get. So I'm definitely nervous about this game, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on down the line. All right. Chris Deaver says, nothing but respect for you and the Skins fan base. Don't want to play you all again. We them boys. Hashtag we them boys. Yeah, I got nothing but respect for the Cowboys as well, man. They're a good football team. I told you that going into the game that they were going to be a tough out. The way they run it, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott is so good. I was so disappointed that we didn't come after him more. And he made us pay with his legs. I talked about that in the breakdown of the game, how he was able to escape the pocket. And I talked about the lack of the team speed we have defensively. It's sickening. And it's been that way for years, okay? This goes back to the London Fletcher days. We haven't been fast on defense since the days of LeVar Arrington and Sean Taylor. We haven't been athletic on defense since like 2005. I mean, literally that one season we went to the playoffs, played against the Buccaneers. Sean Taylor gets thrown out for spitting in Michael Pittman's face. We haven't been athletic on defense since 2005 because that next year, I believe, LeVar Arrington was gone in 2006. We have not been athletically gifted on defense since 2005. Since then, we've been slow as molasses on defense. And it's sickening. It really is sickening to watch our defense not be able to set the edge or keep the edge because they're too slow and they're getting outrun and outflanked by quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers did it to us the week previous. Dak Prescott did it to us last week. It's sickening. But that's who we are defensively. We don't have any team speed. Sua Cravens might be the most athletically gifted guy we have on defense. And that's not saying much because Sua Cravens, last time I checked, wasn't a 4-4 athlete. He's more of a 4-5, maybe even a 4-6 athlete, but he's still athletic. All right, I'll take him every day of the week, but we still need more team speed. Preston Smith got outran. Ryan Kerrigan got outran. Trent Murphy got outran. It was ridiculous. And so that really made me sick to my stomach watching Dak Prescott run all over our defense and us not be able to do anything about it. Lion Fire says, and that's why people hate Cowboys fans. That exact reason right there. I didn't see anything wrong with that, man. I didn't see anything wrong with that at all, man. That's my boy Chris, man. Y'all leave him alone. Man. Chris is cool peoples. Let's see what else we got. Lorenzo Simpson says, the front seven failed us. I watched Prescott avoid several sacks and turn them into big plays. Can't happen again. Same thing I basically was saying, Lorenzo. Same exact thing that we can't keep contained. Trent Murphy had him. Literally had him and just let him escape. You know, Kerrigan had him and let him run right outside of him. Preston Smith on the touchdown run? Come on, give me a break, man. Preston Smith wasn't even close. So that's really disconcerting. It really is. When you see guys in position and they can't do anything about it because they're not athletic enough, you need an upgrade. That's what that means. You need an upgrade athletically, and that's what we have to do this offseason. But that's another discussion for another day. Lion Fire says, that stadium was like that because they are winning. If you call beating teams on mostly cupcake-ass schedule winning, then they are losing. The stadium is filled with 49ers jerseys. I remember when that happened, but look, that's anybody, though. I mean, just think about the years when we were losing games. I remember one year we played the Kansas City Chiefs in the snow, and I want to say that might have been either the last year of Zorn or it was the last year of Zorn. And we played the Chiefs in the snow. And at halftime of that game, our stadium was empty. We stunk. We were horrible. And nobody was at the games. Teams would infiltrate our stadium. That's anybody. If you stink, they're not coming. If you win, they will come. Okay? We beg our fan base to not allow other teams to infiltrate our stadium every single year. If we're good, we don't have to beg. When we're not good, we have to beg. So that's anybody. But still, despite all of that, I'm talking about even in their heyday with the triplets, I've never heard that stadium, and of course this is Jerry's World we're talking about, but even Texas Stadium back in the day, and I'm pretty sure there are some people that went to some of those games that feel like, man, it's been louder than that. It just sounded so loud. The environment there just seemed electric. I've seen many of Cowboys-Redskins games in Dallas, never seen it like that. And maybe it's because all the big games, playoff games, things of that nature, games with something on the line, were all played in either RFK or Jack Kent Cook or FedEx. But man, that was a big game, I guess you could say, a regular season game, and it just felt like a big stage, and they filled it up, man, and they made noise. I tell you that much. But in any event, and you can't criticize who they're beating, okay? You can call their schedule soft all you like. They earned that schedule. They were 4-12 last year. And look, it's only 2 games difference. They play every single team that we play, minus the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. What does that mean this year? The Arizona Cardinals aren't very good right now. Neither are the Carolina Panthers. So what does that really mean this year? They got to play San Francisco, and they got to play, and they're going to play Tampa Bay a little bit later on in the season. They played the same teams we played. They played every team in the AFC North. They played every team in the NFC North, and they played everybody in the division. They played the same teams we play. If you want to call their schedule cupcake, then our schedule is cupcake because we played the same teams. And I just told you the 2 different teams that we played versus them. And so I don't really know what you want me to do with that. They won. Give them credit. I know it's hard to do. As a diehard Redskins fan, it's hard for you to fix your lips to say, damn, the Cowboys are good. But they're good. And I'm not mad at them being good. You know why? I want them to be good. So when we beat them, there are no excuses. I want them to be good. This is good for everyone. When the Cowboys, I just don't want them to win anything of note. Much like most Cowboys fans don't want us to win anything of note. They can be 15-1 as long as they don't win the Super Bowl. Who gives a damn? That's all that matters to me. But I want them to be good. It's good for the division. It's good for the rivalry. Nothing worse than one team being really good and the other team stinking. For all those years when the Cowboys were in their prime and winning Super Bowls, we were garbage. So those games didn't mean anything. That sucks. I want them to be good, I want us to be good, and I want us to beat them while they're good. That's what I want. That's when it's the most fun. When both teams are good and we find a way to win. Wasn't week 17 of 2012, wasn't that fun? Beating them in our building for the division and sending them home. You got to both be good for that to happen. And I'm not saying that either one of those teams were great, but both of us were good enough to qualify for the playoffs if they won the game. That's what you want. You want both teams to be good and you want to beat them. That's what I want to do. And we failed. We had an opportunity and we failed. All right, let's get to some more comments before we move on. All right, let's see where we are now. Here we are. Lion Fire says, there have been 4 games now that we lost because we shot ourselves in the foot. Lions, Bengals, Cowboys twice. Look, man, we got 4 losses and a tie. Arguably, 4 of those games out of the 5 that weren't wins, we could have won. Should have won. Should have beat the Bengals, missed a field goal. Should have beat the Lions, couldn't get a stop at the end. Fumbled the ball away a couple of times. Should have beat the Cowboys, Kirk threw an interception in the end zone the first time. Couldn't score in the red zone the second time. Those are all excuses, though. The good teams don't make excuses, they find ways to win. We haven't done that. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for the boys. They got to find a way to win. That's what the good teams in this league do. The bad teams make excuses as to why they lost. The good teams find ways to win and tell you, hey, man, we had to overcome this and that, but we won. See the Raiders on Sunday. Derek Carr goes down, leaves the game temporarily. They give up 25 unanswered points. All the momentum gone, lost. They should have lost that football game. You know what they did? They found a way to win. They scratched, they clawed, they came back, got the 2-point conversion, tied the game, got a stop, got the football back, got a field goal, win the game 35-32. That's what good teams do. Find a way to win. That's what we got to do. Stop making excuses. Oh, the sun was in our eyes. Find a way to win. All right? No excuses. Oh, we had 3 games in 11 days. Nobody cares. Yeah, we got jerked. Nobody cares. Find a way to win. We didn't find a way to win. We got to find ways to win. Simple as that. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, that Dallas game I watched Will Compton can't cover. He got beat by Zeke and he have a chance to tackle him but miss. Yeah, like the first play of the game was a Will Compton miss. Nobody was at their best defensively. You know, there were some guys that stood out, did some good things. Chris Baker, I thought, had a really good showing, but we were just bad on defense, period. End of discussion. We just need to be better. And like I said, it is what it is. We're not going to dramatically improve this season. We don't have the pieces to do so. But what we can do is we can do the little things, like tackle. We did not tackle in that game on Thursday. That was the worst exhibition of tackling I've seen in quite some time from this team. We haven't been horrible at tackling. The last time we tackled that bad, I think it was Cleveland, when we tried to piss that game away to the Browns earlier in the season, when we tackled horribly against the Browns. We haven't been a bad tackling team this season, but that was a really poor showing in terms of tackling in that particular game. Lion Fire says, when I saw live and in person what the Redskins did to the Eagles on October 22nd, I knew the Redskins were going to be a force to be reckoned with. I hope that's the case. I hope that we are going to continue to do what we've been doing offensively and start to put points up on the scoreboard. What we saw against Green Bay is, to me, what we're capable of when we score points. We didn't settle for field goals in that game. We scored touchdowns. Rob Kelly had 3 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins threw for 3 touchdowns. When you score touchdowns, that's what happens. Or did he throw for 2 touchdowns? 2 or 3, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is, when you score touchdowns, you score 40 points. We're capable of scoring 40 every week. 30 for sure. Like, we could wake up out of our sleep and score 30 if we just score in the red zone. Because I just told you we don't punt. So we're moving the football from 20 to 20. But what does that get you? It gets you losses if you don't put it in the end zone. That's what happened to us on Thursday. All right. Sean Hawk Talks NFL says, is AJ Francis just another body? I wouldn't see why they wouldn't give him a chance to play since our line is not good enough to stop the run. Yeah, he's just another body, man. We don't have anybody worth talking about plugging into the game at this point in the season and hoping that they come in and do anything of note. What you see is what you get. You know, Anthony Lanier, I think he injured himself a couple games ago, but Anthony Lanier or our draft pick out of Temple and Matt Ioannidis, if one of those guys doesn't show up, and they've had opportunities and they haven't really registered, if one of those guys doesn't show up, then you can't really expect some undrafted guy off of somebody else's practice squad to come in and do anything, or some guy that was off the street that we signed to do anything. It's just not going to happen. So Captain Spartan 04 says, nice hat, man. Hey, I appreciate that. I went shopping on Black Friday, picked me up a couple of Redskin caps. All that trash they was talking out there, I had to go represent the boys. I had to go grab me a couple caps. Let them know I ain't no punk with mine. You ain't gonna make me feel bad about my boys. We 6-4-1. Get the hell out of my face. Lion Fire says, I was talking about those jackasses following you around the store. Oh, my fault. Yeah, they were some assholes, man. Straight up. But you know what? Like you said, and I think you put it well, that's why people don't like Cowboys fans, right there. I said, you know what I was saying to myself as they were following me around, heckling me? I said, where were you at last year this time? Were you following people around the Nike store last year when you were about 3-9 at this point of the season last year? Probably not. I should have asked them that. But of course they wouldn't have had an answer. They wouldn't have wanted to talk about last year. They would have wanted to talk about this year. So wouldn't even been any need to bring that up. But yeah, you're right, Lion Fire. They were a couple of asses, man, following me around the damn store. But what can you do, man? They won the game. I'm going to let them gloat, man. We're going to have our day. Trust me, we're going to have our day. Sergio Pinto Tapia says, Dookie and Nacho has to make that interception. We can't give them an offense like that a second chance. Yeah, I was really, of all the things, that one really pissed me off because it was a chance to take a scoring opportunity off the scoreboard. And look, we knew we weren't going to stop them. We knew going into the game that they were going to score 30, and we needed to score 35. That was the magic number, 35. I kept saying 35. We got to score 35. That was 5 touchdowns. because we knew the Cowboys were going to score 31. At least I did. I said, they're going to score 31. We can't stop them from scoring at least 30 in this game. So we got to score 35. And we didn't score 35. And that was a chance to take some points off the scoreboard potentially. You don't get many opportunities like that from Dak Prescott because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. There was the opportunity. We didn't seize it. And that's what the good teams in this league do. They get an opportunity. They seize that opportunity, take full advantage of it. We didn't do that. And, we didn't deserve to win the game. Simple as that. We did not make enough plays to win on the defensive side of the football. They were 4 of 4 in the red zone. We were 2 of 5. All we had to do was get one stop in the red zone and we win the game. One! Just one! You know, we're one of the worst red zone defenses. We've been talking about this red zone offense all year. How about some red zone defense for a change? How about stopping someone in the red zone from scoring a touchdown? That'd be nice. Everybody else is doing it to us. How about we force someone to kick a field goal? We don't. When teams get in the red zone against us, they get in the end zone against us. How about playing some red zone defense? How about bending and not breaking? We break every damn week. Stop letting teams in the damn end zone. That would be nice. All right, I'm going to stop right here. And we're going to jump into our next segment, which is Bow and Go. Let's jump into that right now. Redskins Bow and Go. All right, so let's put a bow on this Cowboys loss because we got to move on. As hurtful as that one was, as much of a gut punch as it was, we got to move on. If we dwell on this loss, it'll turn into another loss, which we can't afford. If you look around the NFC landscape, things just got a lot more interesting. The Buccaneers, all of a sudden, they're beating good teams. Went into Kansas City and won. Just smoked Seattle. They're 6-5. Those boys not playing around. Minnesota 6-5. Detroit 7-4. You look around at other teams. The Eagles just lost. They're 5-6, but they're not dead yet. Packers just beat the Eagles. They're 5-6. They're not dead yet. So there are a bunch of teams hovering around trying to get in. This Arizona Cardinals team that we're about to face, 4-6-1, they're looking to get back into things. So we got to try to keep them down. There are a number of teams that are looking at that 6th seed that we have our hands on right now and saying, hey, man, do you want that? Because if you don't, we'll take it. So we got to tighten up. A lot of teams sitting there at 5-6, hovering around like, hey, man, like some vultures. Hey, man, you going to finish that off or what? Because if you're not, we going to take it. So we got to take care of business, and we can't worry about the Cowboys' loss. It is what it is. They swept us. They're 10-1. We're 6-4-1. We got to move on. And it sucks that they swept us. It sucks that they're going to win this division. But guess what? Doesn't matter at the end of the day. We just want a ticket to the dance. We can do damage when we get there, but we got to get there. Speaking of which, let's go to our Week 13 matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals. And I titled this video, Big D Debacle, knocking down the house of cards. We got to go knock down those house of cards because their season is basically done. All right. They are one more huff and puff from all of their cards blowing down and them being dead this season. So let us be the ones to put that nail in their coffin and blow all their cards down and knock that house of cards out of there and wipe them out for this season. Let us be that team that does that to them because they beat us the last time we went there. They embarrassed Kirk, made him feel bad about himself, picked him off like 2 or 3 times in the fourth quarter. We're out for revenge now. They're one of those teams that we need to scratch them off the list. They got one coming to them, and this is the time to repay everybody back. Panthers, remember what they did to us last year? They're coming up on the schedule on a Monday night. They're struggling. We need to get that ass back too, but it starts here. I've been talking to a bunch of fans that want to run the table, want to win the X amount of games. I don't know how many we're going to end up with. I just want to end up with enough to qualify to go to the playoffs. But in order to do that, we're going to have to win games. We're going to have to win games like this on the road because guess what? If we're going to do any damage in the playoffs, we're going to have to be road warriors because we're not winning the division. So that means we're going to have to go on the road and beat teams. This is a really good test for us on the road against a really good Arizona Cardinals defense. Coming into last week's action in Week 12, they were the #1 defense in the entire league. There are no slouches. I saw in one stretch of football in the third quarter, they hit Matt Ryan on 7 straight plays, sacked him 4 times. They were outstanding at one point in that game. Now, they did give up 38, some self-inflicted wounds. The Falcons are as prolific in offense as there is in the league. I feel like we're just as good as they are offensively. I think we can do some things. We can protect Kirk. We can exploit them offensively. And so, of course, is Jay Reed going to play? That's a big question mark. We don't know. He said he's day-to-day, but he says he's only got 30% range of motion. I've heard from numerous different sources that he's in a ton of pain. Can't even put a shirt on right now. So I don't know how this is going to go. Chris Cooley, I heard him talk about this same injury numerous times, and he said it's a pain tolerance thing. You can play with it, but it hurts like hell. You don't want any contact. So we'll see what happens. If he doesn't play, we're going to have to do it without him. We've done it without him this season, but it's a lot easier with him in the lineup, especially as we saw against Dallas. When we get in the red zone, he's a huge weapon for us down there. And we struggle in the red zone, and he's one of the few guys that I think could make our red zone woes go away if we simply just say, you know what, we're going to one-on-one Jordan Reed. We're going to isolate him to one side of the field like we did last year. Again, I don't know why they decided to reinvent the wheel in the red zone. Last year it was really simple. We would go trips to one side, Jordan Reed singled up on the other side by himself, and we would throw a back shoulder fade or we would throw a slant to Jordan Reed, and he would win. And we would get touchdowns that way. We would single up Pierre Garçon and throw him a fade like we did against Philadelphia, like we did against Buffalo last year, and he would win, and we would score touchdowns. This year, we're trying all these exotic plays, trying to set natural picks and all of this, and teams are switching, and guys aren't open, and Kirk's not extending the play and creating, and next thing you know, he's throwing it out of the back of the end zone, and we got to take a field goal. We have to be better in the red zone. So, I don't know how that's going to get accomplished. I think they just need to simplify things. Let's not make it more complicated. Let's not run Wildcat, okay? Let's actually simplify things. Let's make it basic and easy. One-on-one matchups. Who do you like? Who do you think can win you a one-on-one matchup? I think Jordan Reed can win a one-on-one matchup. I think Chris Thompson can win a one-on-one. I think Jamison Crowder can win a one-on-one match. Get those guys isolated, one-on-one matchups, get them the football. Those are the guys that win routinely for us, so give them opportunities to win for us and score touchdowns. So we'll see what happens, but let's get to some of your comments before I give you my prediction for this game. It's going to be a big game for us, and I think it's one that we must have. It's not a must win, but you really want to have this one. So a must want, okay? I really want this game. We lose this game, go to 6-5-1. It's not the end of the world. But I tell you what, you let a lot of teams in and you give teams an opportunity to bypass us in the playoffs. We control our own destiny right now. If we just win, we're in. It's simple. We don't have to worry about someone beating this team or that team. We don't even have to worry about tiebreakers this year. You know why? Because we have a tie. We're not going to finish with the same record as anyone else except these Arizona Cardinals that we're playing against. So if we want to steer clear of a tie with anybody, we need to beat Arizona, push them down the ropes and the ladder so that they can't come back and haunt us down the road. That's the only team we need to worry about. Seattle's going to win that division, so we don't have to worry about tiebreakers with the Seahawks. The only team in the NFC that we have to worry about that has a tie next to their record like us is the Arizona Cardinals. That's why we must beat them. Everybody else, they're not going to have ties at the end of the season. So we're not going to have to worry about tiebreakers, head-to-head matchups, none of that stuff. We're either going to be better than them or we're going to be worse than them record-wise. We just need to win football games. It's as simple as that. Esteban Lama says, Lou, when are we going to get a fresh new stadium? Our contract isn't up until like 2022 or something like that, 2025, some random long, far away date. That's why they're talking about building, opening up new ground for it. They don't know where they're going to build it. Northern Virginia, D.C. A lot of people are trying to vouch for it to be back in D.C. Maryland is also an option, which is where the stadium is now in Ashburn. Or actually, it's in Landover, Maryland, excuse me. But bottom line is that we're not getting a new stadium anytime soon. We can sit here and talk about all the contract's not up until like 2025 or 2027 or some nonsense like that. So it'll be a while before we get a new stadium. Sergio Pinto Tapia says, I hope Scotty Mack realizes we need a better athletic front seven. He realizes it. I just hope we can actually go out and get the guys. I didn't think the draft actually fell the way that we needed it to, because if you look around the league, look at all the defensive tackles and all the guys, the linebackers and all those guys that were on the board when we selected Josh Doctson. And none of those guys are really playing and balling out, you know what I mean? So it's not like the only guy that I could think of that we could have had that if we would have drafted him could have been making an impact right now, and I love the guy we got, is Brandon Sheriff, Leonard Williams. And I love Brandon Sheriff, so I'm not even going to complain about that. Sheriff has turned into a really good football player. He turned his ankle in the game, and he didn't even come out. I mean, he came right back in the game, could barely walk after the game, was in a walking boot, and the guy gutted it out, man. Like, we got some tough-ass players, man. Morgan Moses has been playing on a bum ankle for like a month now. These 10 days were huge for some of these guys to heal up. You think about Morgan Moses, Momo, you think about Brandon Sheriff, you think about all these guys who are nursing injuries, D-Jax, all these guys that are nursing injuries. These 10 days were huge. Jordan Reed probably wouldn't have been able to play if that was a Sunday game and we were playing on Sunday again. Now that that's a Thursday and we're playing on Sunday, he might have a shot. You never know. We'll see. But a lot of guys needed this time off, man. We were a walking wounded unit. I tell you that much. So we'll see what happens. Sergio Pinto Tapia says, do you think Dez wore out Norman? Because to me, 3 receptions for 32 yards. Yeah, he called it exposed, but Dez didn't do ish. Nah, he didn't do much of anything on Josh Norman. And I was just disappointed that we allowed them to take advantage of the slot and Kendall Fuller. At some point, you just got to say, all right, wherever he goes, Josh is going to go. And that's that. But there was one play, I will say this, there was one play on a deep post that Dez shook the draws off of Josh Norman, and if Dak had seen him, that's probably like a 55, 60-yard touchdown, because he had Josh going the opposite direction, and he was wide open. There was no safety help. It was a touchdown, but Dak didn't see him. So he did beat him a couple of times, but like I said, it wasn't much there, you know what I mean, in terms of yardage and stats. And if Duke Iheanacho can catch, that's a pick on one of those plays that was thrown to Dez Bryant. So, you know, just it was a lot of nonsense there. Those two just getting into it. Let's see what else we got comment-wise. All right. Let's see what we got. Chris Deaver says, do you have any pregame rituals that you do every week? I haven't shaved or gotten a haircut since the winning streak. Oh, yeah, I'm done fighting the fact that Jordan Reed is a monster. No, I don't have any pregame rituals. When I was a kid, I was so superstitious it was not even funny. We were so bad, though, that I would try anything to help the boys win. Back in the day, I mean, we were 4-12 like every year, 3-13, 4-12. We were one of the laughing stocks of the league. But if we were winning a game and I was sitting in a particular spot, I would not move. If I was holding the remote in a certain way and we were winning, I wouldn't move. You know, my hands would be all sweaty. The remote would be all moist from my hands being all sweaty, holding it the whole time. But I wouldn't put it down and I wouldn't move. You know, I would be sitting in a specific spot on the couch, sitting a certain way, and I wouldn't move. But I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't get into all that superstition anymore. Bottom line is, either the boys are going to take care of business or they're not. You know, the one thing I can't help do every week is yell at the TV. I yell at the TV every week as if they can hear me. My sister and my mom always fuss at me. They can't hear you. I don't give a damn. Okay? Yes, they can hear me. So that's just my way of venting when I'm watching a game. But I don't have any no rituals or no superstitions. I just love to yell at the TV. That's basically all I do during the game. I'm normally calm, actually, when I watch the game. But then when I see something stupid or I see something, I'm yelling at the TV. So, anyway. And yes, Jordan Reed, Jay Reed is a beast. And I'm glad you know that. Sergio Pinto Tapia says, do you think Dustin Hopkins should have worn a visor? Nah, man. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but we did that to ourselves. because the Cowboys won the toss, elected to receive, which then gives us the opportunity to decide which side of the field we want to defend, which side we want to kick off from. So had we chose the opposite side of the field, then the Cowboys would have been in the sun in the second quarter, not us. But we didn't know that the sun was going to be up, when it was going to be up, or any of that stuff. So we actually did it to ourselves. No, Dustin Hopkins didn't need to wear a visor. No. I don't think that would have made a difference. Honestly speaking, look, bottom line, it's a 55-yard field goal, man. Either you'll make it or you're not. And he had the distance, he just didn't have the accuracy. So I'm more upset at him missing the 41-yarder, but we froze him. We froze our own damn kicker, and this is now a trend. It's not an accident. He's shown the ability to not make a kick after having someone call a timeout. That's a problem. So what they need to do is figure out how to get him back on track on his regimen after a timeout has been called. Because him standing on the field and then him re-kicking it after kicking it once and seeing it go through the uprights hasn't worked, okay? Once he kicks it the first time and it goes in, that second time he kicks it, it's not going to go in. He's proven that he can't do that. So now what we need to do is send him back off the field, tell him during his timeout, go get a couple practice kicks into the net, come back onto the field like you normally would after it's fourth down and we send you on the field, and then get back into your regular ritual. We don't need to let him stand there on the field because obviously that's not working. Tyree Mosby says, who do you think we should draft or a specific position we should go for? I'm not going to talk draft talk with you, but I will tell you this. Our first round pick needs to be a defensive player. It needs to either be an athletic, explosive edge rusher because we can't wait on Junior Gillette anymore. It'd be nice if he comes back next year, but I'm not holding my breath any longer. Or it needs to be a safety. One or the other. Give me one of those. I don't care. I will take either one, but we can't go on like this at safety or at edge pass rusher. We just can't. Let's see. Sergio Pinto Tapia says, give Crowder the ball more. The man is a mismatch with his speed. I agree. We got to get him the rock a little bit more. He's been dynamic this season. Lion Fire says, Green Bay payback, Cards payback, Panthers payback, Cowboys, you know. Yeah, I told you I made a list. If you haven't watched the video, I made a list last year of all the teams that I wanted to pay back. Panthers are on that list. I told you we weren't ready to get them back, but we will. I think now we're ready to get them back. It'd be nice to get the Cardinals back too, man. I really think it would be. This would be great. I see some Cowboys fans have infiltrated and are talking some trash, man. That's good stuff. Lorenzo Simpson says, the running game has to be there. Looking forward to seeing a bounce-back game on Sunday. We'll see, man. The Cardinals are no joke defensively. It'd be nice to see the run game get on track, but I wouldn't hold my breath. If we're going to beat the Cardinals, I think it's going to be through the air, passing the football, but we'll see what happens. I just want to beat them. I don't give a damn how we do it, honestly. Arizona Animal says 50-10 Cardinals. I'll be back after the game to tell you I told you so. He's exaggerating. He's a funny guy. His Cardinals haven't beat anybody 50-10 this season. They're damn sure not going to beat us 50-10. He's exaggerating. They're not even going to win this game. So he'll be back to tell us that they're not going to the playoffs. That's what he'll be back to tell us. But should be fun, man. Should be fun. Lionfire says, I would have taken Landon Collins over Doxson. Easy to say that now, and they weren't in the same draft. Landon Collins was drafted 2 years ago, and Doxson was drafted this year. So it's easier to say that now, obviously, seeing that Doxson hasn't played. But we're fine with Doxson. Don't give up on this kid. He hasn't even really played. And we're going to need him next year when we don't have either Jackson or Garcon or both of them not back next year. So you're gonna really like that pick when it's all said and done. Trust me on that. RG3 hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 says, will the Redskins offense against the Cardinals secondary be one of the best in the league? Who will win that matchup? I think we can win that matchup. The Cardinals secondary doesn't scare me. Remember, they've been hurting at that second corner position all season long. Cooper has come in and played well for them, but he's no world beater. You know, he can be beaten. And if Patrick Peterson wants to take Deshaun Jackson out of the game, by all means, have at it. We got Jamison Crowder. We got other guys, Pierre Garçon, that can eat the other corners alive. So Vernon Davis can exploit them in the secondary as well if we don't have Jordan Reed. If we do, that's another mismatch for them to have to figure out. And we got enough weapons to go around and be just fine. So with that being said, I'm going to get some more questions, comments, and then we're going to get to the final outcome. Lionfire says, I realized Doxson wasn't in that same draft, LOL. Okay. Jonas McConan says, seeing how Ty Nsekhe is playing well, do you think we should put Trent at left guard? I talked about that before. I talked about it 3 weeks ago when Trent got suspended. I said, look, if Ty Nsekhe comes in here and balls, I'm not opposed to putting Trent at left guard. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't. But it's something that they should entertain. It'll help us in the run game for sure, but this is the thing that you try to kind of guard against. If somebody goes down, you're going to have to start playing musical chairs with the offensive line. Let's just say Morgan Moses goes down. Now Ty Nsekhe has to go to right tackle. Trent Williams has to go to left tackle, and then somebody has to come in at guard. And if you don't have it set up that way, you may not have enough active players. You might not have the right guys. It kind of throws off the balance of everything if you do it that way. But maybe they decide to do it that way. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to do it, but I would love to see them explore that option for the remainder of this season. All right. Ouija HTTR says, did you happen to see Samuel Gold's video on Kirk Cousins? I haven't. I got it saved for me to watch later. I'm going to watch it tonight probably after I'm done. But I'm definitely going to check it out. You know, I saw him breaking down the Cowboys game, and he said why Kirk Cousins will be paid like a top 5 quarterback. I cannot wait to watch. Haven't had a chance to check it out. But trust and believe, I will be watching that video. Indeed. RG3 hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 says, is Tony Romo going to leave the Cowboys or stay with them, in your opinion? He's gone. He's done. After the season's over, he's going to some kind of contender. Denver, wherever else you could, Arizona. Some team that's ready to win now, that has an aging veteran quarterback that they feel like they can upgrade that position with. That's where Tony Romo will be come next season. And Steven Kinsler says, no more Wildcats shaking my effing head. I'm with you on that one, man. That's not who we are. That's not who we are at all. I was so disappointed when we ran it. I know some people that didn't have a problem with it. I did have a problem with it because it's not who we are. So I just want us to be who we are, and that's not who we are. Hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 says, if you were the Redskins owner, would you trade Kirk Cousins for Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins for Tony Romo? No for Romo, obviously for Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is about to be 33 years old, I think, next week. Kirk Cousins is still in his 20s, 27, I believe. But Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. Of course I would trade Kirk Cousins for Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? That's not a viable trade. And no, I don't want Tony Romo. Are you crazy? Tony Romo's like 36, and he's a broken down, washed up quarterback. No, I don't want Tony Romo. Kirk Cousins is the man. He's got some things he needs to clean up. But again, a lot of people fail to realize that he's only been a starter really in this league for 2 seasons. This is his second year as a starter. The entire season, I think he's going to get even better. Okay? So I take Kirk Cousins every day of the week. Arizona Animal says 50-10 hashtag facts. Okay, cool. We'll see. We'll see. Tristan Williams, do you think Kirk Cousins is a top 5 quarterback in the league right now? No, I told you guys that already. He's a top 10, right on the outskirts of the top 10, right inside the top 10, somewhere in there, 8 to 12, somewhere in there. That's where you'll find Kirk Cousins right now. But is he better than Aaron Rodgers? Is he better than Drew Brees? Is he better than Ben Roethlisberger? No. You know, is he better than Tom Brady? No. Okay? He's not better than Phillip Rivers. No. Okay? There are at least Aaron. Is he better than Matt Ryan right now? No. Is he better than Derek Carr right now? No. That's 7 quarterbacks right there. So no, he's not a top 5 quarterback. But after you get past Matthew Stafford, that's 8. You're not going to find many more guys playing better than Kirk Cousins after that. So he's rating that, like I said, 8 to 12 range, somewhere in there. You should feel good about that if you're a Redskins fan. That gives you a chance to win. Bottom line. All right. I got one more comment from my man B.E. He says, it's going to be interesting to see how you guys try and stop David Johnson. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest matchup of the game because we don't stop the run very well, even though I thought we did a pretty good job on Ezekiel Elliott after the first drive. But we don't stop the run very well, and this guy's a monster. So, and we don't stop running backs who catch the football out of the backfield very well either, and he does both of those things. So it'll be interesting to see how we do with David Johnson. That'll be the key to us winning this game. If we can slow down David Johnson, we're not going to stop him, but if we can slow him down, I think we got a shot to beat the Arizona Cardinals and not even have this game be a nail-biter come the end of the game. But then again, who do we ever blow out, especially when we're on the road? We don't blow out teams on the road, generally speaking. I just want to win. I don't give a damn if it's 20-19, 27-26, 30-31, whatever the case may be. I just want to win, and I think we'll be able to do that. Speaking of which, let's get to the final outcome in the Week 13 matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals. It's the final outcome. Whoa, yeah. All right, so bottom line is we got to have this one. Cardinals are basically hanging on by a thread. We got a chance to eliminate them essentially from the playoff race. They're the only team that could actually tie with us because they actually have a tie on their record just like we do. So we need to take them down. We need to get this head-to-head win over them. I think we have a golden opportunity. They are struggling right now on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, they're still good, but they can be had. I saw them last week against Atlanta. I wasn't impressed. And so I think we can do some things against them. The thing that does scare me is they have David Johnson, a guy that if this team was better would be in the MVP discussion and would be a front runner to win the MVP trophy this year because he's that good and he's been playing that well. But that aside, Carson Palmer doesn't scare me. I'm not afraid of their offense. I'm not afraid of their defense, even though their defense is pretty damn good. I'm not afraid of any of their units. I think we have advantages all over the football field other than the running back position where they have David Johnson. So I think we have a really good shot at going on the road and taking care of some business and getting back to our winning ways. We got to get back on track. And I had my dad telling me all week, you're going to fall off now. We beat y'all. Your season going to go into a tailspin now. So I got Cowboys fans in my ear telling me that our season is done now and that we're about to have a nosedive because they just beat us and swept us this season. And so I'm out to prove them wrong. I want the boys to prove them wrong. I want them to go out and get a win. Look, from here on out, we got to score 30 to win. That needs to be the mindset. Every game, we got to score 30 or we're not going to win. 26 isn't good enough. 27 isn't good enough. We have to score 30 because our defense isn't going to stop teams from scoring 28, 29 points every week. We got to score 30 plus to win. If we don't, we're not going to win. So we need to start scoring 30 now. And I think we can do that against this Arizona Cardinals football team. Not going to be an easy task because, like I said, they play much better at home than they do on the road. This is one of the best defenses in the league. It's not going to be easy. But I'm not asking for it to be easy. I want our boys to go out and play well against a good defense and show everyone that we can score on anybody. That includes the Arizona Cardinals. Redskins, get this one. Not going to be easy. It never is with us, but we're going to get this one 31-26. Same score Cowboys beat us with, we're going to beat the Arizona Cardinals with on Sunday in Arizona, 31-26. That's going to do it for me here on the Redskins Report Live. Remember, I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Redskins. We got to have this one. We're 6-4-1. A lot of teams hovering around that final wild card spot. I think the Giants are about to come down to earth. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, and they got a lot of tough games coming up due to the Giants. I could easily see the Giants falling off. It's not out of the realm of possibility that we can't sneak up and get the 5th seed in the playoffs, but that's going to require us to win. The Giants already have 8 wins on the season, so we're going to have to do some work to get there, but I think it's very feasible, but we got to win, and it starts on Sunday, Week 13 at Arizona. So it's going to do it for me here on the program. I thank all of you for joining me and chiming in. It was a tough loss on Thursday, but we got to bounce back. We got to take care of business versus the Arizona Cardinals in Week 13 if we want to get our season back on track. And I think we can do that if we go out and execute the way that we know how and take care of the red zone woes. We have to score when we get in the red zone. If we're kicking field goals, and Dustin Hopkins is fine. For all of you out there wondering, he's just fine. He's okay. I'm not worried about Dustin Hopkins at all. But we need to score touchdowns, not kick field goals. Simple as that. I will see you guys a little bit later on down the line. Hopefully you join me tomorrow for Louie T live on Wednesday night. Remember, new time, 8 o'clock. I'll see you guys then. Have a good one. And as always, go get them, fellas. Bring back home the dub and get us to 7-4-1 on the season. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night.